Well, hello, Pueblo. We have yet another Pueblo Matters interview. It's number 20, and today we have Ted Hernandez. Say hello, Ted.
Hello, everybody.
So you're running for District 3 Councilor?
City Council, yes,
City
sir.
Councilor, yeah. I noticed you've been attending City Council quite a bit.
I have.
Yeah, and
Yes.
this is the agenda from last night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a long meeting.
it was a long. Well, I've been to much longer.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So, um, yeah, last night I had to go to a meeting that was coincidental with that with city council, so I didn't get to go there in the beginning. So I set my camera up
Right.
and it just put it on record, and
Oh, that's your camera,
yeah, that's my
personal camera.
Yes, my personal
Oh,
camera.
awesome.
Yeah, I might be recording some other people today, but today, by the way, is October 15th. I think I said that. So you've been a coach.
25 years. Yes.
So you're
Yes.
well known as Coach.
Yes.
Do they call you Coach Ted or Coach Hernandez? What do they say? It's just Coach.
Or coach. They call me Coach Ted or Coach.
Coach, yeah.
Yeah. Either
Yeah.
one. Depends on how many coaches
You
are around.
remind me a lot of Coach Kilcoyne.
Oh, really?
Kilcoyne was my high school football coach for freshman and sophomore years. And then he left to go to Clinton High School.
What school?
Clinton High School. Well,
Oh.
the school that I was in,
Uh-huh.
Hudson Catholic.
Okay.
We always had 33 people come out for
30.
football. Yeah. 4 grades, 33
Right,
people.
33.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you played both ways.
Sure.
You played both ways.
That's good football right there.
That is good football. It was 11 man.
Yeah.
It was not 8 man.
Right.
Have you ever
No.
coached
11.
8 man?
No.
Always 11?
Always 11.
Did you always get two teams, offense and defense?
So when I coached at Roncalli back in late 1998 until 2008,
Yeah.
I would have 120 kids. So
No
I would
way.
have 3 teams.
No way.
For 10 years, I had more than 100 kids come out to play football. I was the head coach at that time.
Right.
So yeah, we had 3 teams.
And so, are you still coaching?
Still coaching.
Still coaching. How many did you have come out? You're at South, right?
I'm at South High School. We had 55 come out this
Well,
year.
that's pretty good still.
Yeah, it's better than we've been in the past couple of years.
Yeah. So
The number of kids at South has dropped from 1,300 to 700 now.
yeah.
So,
Do you think we'll ever go down to 2 high schools?
I think we should.
You do.
I do think we should.
Yeah. Of course, the council would not have really too much to say about that other than commentary.
Well, I think that's might be a common misconception of where council should sit with that, because the social economic drivers of a high school for a community like District 3, if we lose South High School, we lose a lot. We lose property values go down. A lot of those businesses don't get frequented by those 700 kids and 100 teachers. So the social economic impact of losing a school, we already lost Roncalli, so we lost quite a bit already.
What was Roncalli? Was that a junior?
It was a middle school, yeah.
It was a middle school.
So
yeah.
we lost that. They closed that.
You had 100 kids come out in middle school.
Yes, 120 one year, 120 kids. So yeah, so the economic impact for the South Side would be horrendous if we lose South High School.
Right.
So, but 2 high schools I think is better for our school system, because we would be allowed to put more money in the classroom and less in the buildings, less in the structures.
Right. So 100 teachers for 1,300 students was, or 700 students,
Yeah.
7-1?
Yeah. Well, they're not all in the school at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So some of them transfer. When I say 100, it's just kind of a ballpark figure for the impact.
Right.
economic impact.
Yeah, that coterie of
Right.
teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't brown bag it, the teachers?
I don't think so. they're doing pretty good right now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to talk to you today. You feel to me like a very warm person, and can see problems when they're in front of you.
Right.
And so it's not like you're just reacting to outside interest. You're actually looking at the problems.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. So what do you think you'd bring to the council? What is your
So my specialty has always been to talk to people.
right?
There was an incident last night where one of the city staff was kind of getting excited and kind of raising their voice, and
Oh yeah.
pretty soon we got to a point where the counselor and the kid or the young man were yelling at each other.
They were.
And I thought that, as soon as that started, I thought, this is time to call for order here.
Gavel. Yeah.
Yeah. And say, hey, kid or young man, do you need a minute? Do you need a minute? Ma'am, do you need a minute?
Right.
Because we're talking to each other in a way that we shouldn't be talking to each other.
Right. It wasn't just about the issues. It didn't
was
seem
personal.
It
It
was
was personal.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any room for that.
Right.
I mean, people are watching, people are listening
Mhm.
to city council meetings. And when they see that, I think they see a dysfunction that really exists. And I thought Mark did a really good job of talking about the fact that we agree on a lot of these things.
He did do a great
He did
job.
a great job of that. But the problem is people see the 3%. They don't see the 97%. The thing they talk about is the 3%. When your show is as popular as Monday Night Football,
Yeah.
you're probably doing something
Right.
in the wrong fashion.
I don't know how many people are tuned in to Facebook because it's broadcast on Facebook.
Yep. That's where I watched it.
Did you?
A few times, yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing with the Facebook show is that they focus on the speaker.
Yeah.
They focus on who is speaking.
Right.
And sometimes they go to the shot from the back of the room
Right.
that shows the back of the heads of the people that are in
Yeah.
attendance and the whole dais
Mm-hmm.
and the staff, two
Sure.
staff side daises.
Yeah.
And I don't think that shows the whole picture at
No,
all.
I think we're missing. I think when you watch that on Facebook, you're really missing the dynamic of the whole room.
Right.
You asked what I would bring.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about there's a warmth in this.
Yes, there is. You have a warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I
kind
mean,
of
you're smiling right now.
exactly
Right.
I'm always smiling, and I think that the warmth and the smile disarms people a little bit, kind of lets people relax and don't have to feel so tense around me.
Right.
And that's kind of what coaching brings that out in you. You
Right.
have to learn to speak to a lot of different kind of people, a lot of different personalities, and if you
Some people not even mature yet.
exactly, well, yeah. So it's we're not far, right?
Yeah.
So you learn how to speak to people, and I think that's probably the one thing that I think council could benefit from.
Yeah. I think it's what the city needs. There is a lot of animosity on Facebook that's pretty much unfounded, and
Sure.
there people reading minds.
Yeah.
And it's a common problem to read minds and assume that the other person has evil intentions or I don't know, whatever. But I always like to say, what could they be thinking?
Yeah.
What could they possibly be thinking? And if you approach it from the other person's point of view, you could maybe maybe understand them a little bit and let them have their piece
Mhm.
to see if you're right in
Right.
what you think
Yeah.
that they're saying. But you can't. It's not a good idea to read minds.
No, and I think one of the things that the council would benefit from is this ability that normal people have and people who care about each other listening to one another. Like, you and I have talked a few times.
Right.
And one of the things I like about the way we talk is that we talk to each other and we listen to each other. And then we can have a conversation about our beliefs without you being something and me being something.
Right.
It's just common courtesy and common sense.
Right. By the way, Ted is hatless. and I have on a red hat that says "Make Pueblo Power Space Full."
Oh,
Powerful.
yes.
And that's about giving us energy for the future.
Correct.
So, but it's red hat.
Yeah.
It looks disarmingly like a MAGA hat.
Sure.
And it's got the same printing, make, but it's about Pueblo.
Right.
It's not about America or
Yeah.
any national politics. So,
which I think if we could take national politics out of local politics, oh my gosh,
right.
oh my gosh, what a wonderful ability we would have to move Pueblo forward.
Well, yes, and moving Pueblo forward is the message that we shall have, and many of the people that you hear talking have that word. They use the word forward.
Forward.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So what besides your warmth? I mean, how do you analyze problems? We saw some last night.
Right.
What did we see last night? I mean, we've got the agenda right here from
Well,
last night.
one of the things that that you can observe by watching people is listening to the words that are being spoken. And you can get a lot from just the way those words are being spoken. I've been trained as a clinician, so I listen really, really well because there are more than the words. There's the body language, there's the way the inflection of those words and the way those words are spoken that allows somebody to kind of feel like, okay, I can feel where you're coming from. But listening, listening is a tool that many politicians don't have. They'll sit there and they'll do the hand on the chin, and they'll cross their arms and they'll look at you like but they're not really listening because they have an agenda.
Well, they're trying to think about the very next thing that they're going to say.
Exactly. Instead of listening, because if I listen to you, Dave, like I love to listen to you talk, you're going to prompt what I'm going to say in your words if I listen to them all.
Yeah, you think? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things I love about
Oh,
talking to you.
I'm getting chills. You saying that? I don't know if you can see it on the radio. I'm sure Ted can't see it either, but I am getting chills when he said that. That's right. That's very, very nice. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to listen too. And I ran for council in 2019 for District 2, which was Larry Atencio's seat. And Larry, of course,
East
won.
side?
Huh?
East side? No.
District 2 is Lower East Side,
Right.
where we are now,
Right.
and Upper East Side and through Belmont,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and actually it goes downtown. But when I ran for it, my campaign tagline, if you will, was "This Santa listens."
What a great.
And
That's awesome.
they didn't. Yeah, it makes the lists. So yeah, so I completely appreciate what you're saying. Really, the chills are gone. Um, so so you must have a large number of people in District 3 being a coach for South that you know.
Yes.
And how do you reach them? How do you do the listening?
I've never really been a social media guy. I think because I think social media has in some it can be great for a community, but it also can be really really bad for a community,
Right.
especially for children. I think when I see a phone in a kid's hand, I
Right.
worry because there's just too much bad for that person to see and to affect their mind than there is good.
Hmm.
But yeah, so one of the things I love to do is I love to talk to people. So if there's a crowd of people, anybody who knows me, they'll say, Ted's. They call it politicking, and I've done this for my whole life. If there's a group of people, I want to go say hi to everybody because I have a lot of friends, and a lot of people, a lot of kids I've coached.
Sure.
That I see them everywhere. So I'll go to football games, I'll go to events just because I want to see those kids that I coach. I want to see how they're doing. And I want to see how the effect that I've had on their life, not from a personal standpoint, but from their perspective. How, if anything I said to them meant anything, if it mattered at all. And that's just what I love to do. I love to be around kids.
They probably think you're a great conversationalist because you listen.
Because I listen. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think one of the techniques is you find out early, very early in the conversation, what the other person's doing and what they're interested in. So, for example, I know you're the coach. That's why we're talking about coaching.
Right.
Because I want you to feel comfortable when we get into the conversation about city council and,
Sure.
and your positions in economic development and whatever other things you want to bring to the table. So, again, we're on KOIC Radio 98.5 FM low power, and we're talking to Ted Hernandez. He's a candidate for District 3 City Council in Pueblo, Colorado.
Yes, sir.
So besides listening to the constituents and doing the business of what do you think the business of the council is? And we have two possible ways to go in the future,
right?
When you're there, so you don't know which way. But I think the council's job doesn't really change.
No,
much.
It's our responsibility is to our constituents to make them safe. I think that's the number one thing. Safe. We also have a responsibility to make sure there's some social that we have a economic impact on our constituents to make sure that there are jobs available for the next generation of Puebloans who are going to be leaving high school and coming up. I get really, really frustrated when we lose kids to other cities to go work because there's not a job here. So I think my responsibility as a city councilor would be to make sure that my constituents are safe and to make sure there's opportunity for them.
Mhm.
Those are the two most
So
important things.
physical safety and maybe mental safety.
Correct.
And
Well, there's a way to police that involves both.
uh-huh.
So and that's one of the things that I would like to do. I think we need to rethink how we're policing. We fund 55 new police officers every year. We don't really get more than 10, 15. We need to fund a different type of police force in one that also focuses on mental health. We shouldn't always send police officers to deal with people with mental health issues. We should send professionals in the mental health to do that. And I think that's part of how we improve our police force, that we have those type of individuals around. We're asking police officers with no mental health training to deal with somebody who is decompensated to the point where they're a danger to themselves and others.
Do you think it would be easier to hire such people than it is to get someone who is, I don't know, it's certified
Yeah.
or what is, I don't know, the word begins with C, but I don't know,
Yeah.
remember what it is, but it means you can arrest people.
Right.
It's not certified, but,
So I don't think that we need to put people in the position where they're those type of people in the position where they're arresting people. I think we always send a gun and a badge to a situation.
yes.
Sometimes we need to send a hope and a prayer
Uh,
to people who are decompensating to the point where their psychosis is so bad that they need to speak to a professional, not a police officer. So I think we need to have a combination of that type of police force where we have professionals to deal with issues that are that they need a professional in, that the individual who's in crisis needs somebody to speak to in the right way. We don't send a clinician to deal with an armed robbery. We send a police officer with a gun and a badge.
but what about a domestic violence call?
So both should be there.
Both should be there.
Right. And then, so I'll tell you the story about a young man. So I've worked for 42 years working with persons with intellectual and developmental
You're
disabilities.
that old?
I am that old. I'm 63, believe it or not. But I work with an individual who is a duly diagnosed individual, and he's got severe psychosis. And if he doesn't take his meds right, or if there's an event, he will go off the edge and he'll create an environment where he's not safe to himself or others. So he had an incident. They called me. I went over. He's standing with a knife at his chest. And because I know him, I've worked with him for a dozen years, I just walked over and say, hey, let me have the knife. And then, so the police came, but they also brought a social worker with them.
They did?
He did. And so, because it was that type of call, somebody wanted to hurt themselves. So the police officer was there about 10 minutes. They talked to me about who he was, took their report. The social worker stayed there for about 30 minutes, did her work. By the time she left, he had gotten to a place where he had de-escalated. So where we could manage him again, I could manage him again. That's the type of police force that we need. If we just send police officers and he's there with a knife, they're going to look at that knife as a danger to them.
Of course they are.
Right. And for me, when I saw him with it, I didn't see it as a danger to me. I saw it as a danger to him because I know him. As a professional, as a clinician, I know how to deal with that situation. Police officer may not know.
Well, I don't know what kind of training that they go to school for half a year or maybe 3/4 of a year to get their badge to be certified or whatever the rule, whatever the word is. And I don't know what training they have in that school. They might, though, if there's always a social worker on the calls with them, they might actually learn on the job.
Exactly.
Job, so that it wouldn't need as many, or you could get more certified officers.
Right.
Right. Interesting.
So we're sending the right resources to the right situation.
Right. Right.
Just a way to reimagine how we're policing. That's all.
Right. Well, I know that there are really having a tough time getting people, and people who are clinicians and want to become a certified police officer. I don't necessarily know why.
Sure.
But they could certainly do on-the-job training, that method too. That'd be a way to get into and see if they really want to be a law enforcement officer.
Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, that's great. So what about economic development? What jobs do you think these high school graduates or college graduates who are coming from Pueblo's high schools, what kind of jobs do you think they want?
So I think there's too much of a push towards technology.
You do.
I do. I think there definitely is a need for technology. Definitely think there's a need for college and getting those advanced courses to better yourself as an individual intellectually and to open up some doors for employment. But I think we also missed the mark on plumbers and electricians and all these other vocations, welding. We missed that in schools that we should be teaching a workforce too. Not everybody's going to go to college. Not everybody's going to get a college type job. We still need people to do the labor, to do the labor type work. That's always going to be there. Robots are going to replace a lot of things. They're not going to replace.
Well, it's not easy to understand the building codes.
No,
I mean,
right.
that's a whole art in itself. And
And besides, you didn't learn how to weld, man. You could make a ton of money.
oh yeah, you can.
So, but
Pueblo's known for welding.
yes. So I just think we're missing the boat on how we're educating some of our kids and what type of vocational training that we're giving.
So Petco has been a little change of subject. Petco
Sure.
has been a in the news,
Mm-hmm.
in the political talk a lot,
Right.
a lot. And there are a couple of issues I think on the ballot that are coming up, but mainly they're having to do with how to change Petco to get economic development without insisting on primary jobs. I mean, one of the things is um, uh, there can only be one in an industry that you bring into town and get
Right.
some Pedco support.
Right.
Only be so. If there was a chain manufacturing company or a truss manufacturing company to come down, which they did get those two things,
Right.
um,
Can't have another one.
you can't have another one.
Yeah.
And even though I worked in high technology, here's my resume by the way. But uh, uh, and a place like Longmont was known for hard disk drive development. So we had Quantum, Western Digital, Seagate, IBM was up there, all centered around on the diagonal highway that goes from Boulder to Longmont, and they had an expertise in so you could a person could move from company to company, and so they had to be competitive in wages and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't be competitive if we only bring in one
Correct.
company. So that there's a change that I would like to see myself
Right.
in the Pedco criteria.
So-
And I think that the council is responsible for the criteria ordinance.
Right. Well, they've changed it a few times for a few specific jobs. So I don't think when you define primary job, I mean, what does
Me?
that? No, yeah, anybody. What does that really mean? It means a job where it's something new, that it's not a recirculation of the same dollars that we had before.
Right.
Correct?
Not retail.
Exactly. Not retail.
Not restaurants.
Right. So why would a restaurant want to come here if we don't have a population? And how do we grow a population? Right?
Well, I think the number one thing, if you're asking me, the number one thing, and I know you are, is I think we need to have families and have young families. They say that if a woman doesn't have a child by the time she's 28, she's only 50% likely to ever be a mother.
Right.
From any. So we have to get our families established early. If it were me, because I know we have a demographic problem, we have old people here. Our population isn't growing, and the old people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what does that mean? We have 229 houses that have been abandoned, and some of them have been burned, and they have asbestos in them and stuff. But the asbestos is now in the air because it was burned.
Sure.
But there are many houses in Pueblo that are occupied by old people that maybe there's only one person left in the family, and they're on the short path
Right.
to die.
Right.
And when they do, their children won't want to come back. As you've mentioned, the children leave and the grandchildren leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do we do with that house? Well, what I would say to do is identify them. We have the data in the city to know there's only one person in this house and their age, and they are on the short path, and to approach them and say, would you like a reverse mortgage?
Right.
And if they would like a reverse mortgage, you can pay them every month. They can use that money to get a better health care plan,
Hmm.
to fund their funeral. I'm sorry to talk about it this
Sure.
way, but this is
those are facts of life.
yeah, yeah. So, and now what do we do with the house? Well, it's got an owner. It's not going to go to abandoned. It's not going to be
Correct.
destroyed by homeless people, and it's owned by the bank. And we could have a program that allows that entices young families to move into this house. It's a perfectly working house.
Sure.
It doesn't need upgrade. We don't have to deal with building
Right.
department
Right.
because it's a working house. Now the bank may want a few things done.
Sure.
They may have a roof problem. There may be a few things done, but it would be a less expensive home that maybe the city could say, hey, if you're a young family, you're having kids, we will spot you the down payment,
Right.
and you won't have to pay it back if you live here 10 years
Mhm.
or stay in the city 10 years, and we will forgive. So I don't know. Somebody's got to figure out.
And also, how many buildings has Petco built?
I don't know a lot.
I
They
don't,
buy
right?
they build spec buildings.
Right. They built spec buildings. PBR was built by
I don't know.
I don't know who built, but with our money,
I think so. It was certainly fun. That's how PVR came here.
exactly with our money.
It's nice little statue out front.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we bought it again.
Yeah.
Right. So my question is, why can't we buy those houses, the city, and
That's what I'm saying.
and sell those houses?
Well, I would say
because
go ahead.
we don't have to do we don't have to we could do a reverse mortgage because that helps that person absolutely 100%. But there are also houses that are already abandoned that we could put money into, because we're going to put money into a multi-billion or multi-million dollar building for a company to come in and stay 12 years and leave. Why can't we do a couple of or $100,000 into a home to make it livable so we can sell it and get our money back?
Well, I think the reason that we can't, or we don't seem to be able to, is because of the ownership problem.
Sure.
Which is why I'm saying
Right.
before we increase the problem, let's
Right.
line up the ones that are about to be abandoned.
And we don't have any rules, any laws that can say you either fix this or we're going to have to take it from you.
I think we do, but we don't want to force people.
No, we don't want to take property
No,
from
no,
them,
no.
but we do want them
We do want them to be convinced that
fix it
in the end of their life that
Right.
that here's some money that will pay you for your asset,
right,
and your kids don't have to take
Sure.
your funeral is funded,
right,
and which people worry about
right.
because in our generation, well, my generation, how about yours? I'm older than you by a lot, and
No way.
oh yeah, way,
Okay.
way. So, this is my belly. I paid for this belly. I paid for all the food that's in this belly,
Right. Uh-huh.
and I'm paying for my funeral, right?
Sure, exactly.
Right. And you put aside money and you take care of all your bills. You don't owe city. You don't owe anybody anything when
right.
you die.
Exactly.
And so, people are proud about that, and I think Pueblo is proud about that.
Sure, absolutely.
But some of these people get to the point where they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I think.
I think that's a wonderful idea. What I'm talking about is the ones that are abandoned.
Yeah, those we don't want that problem to get any larger.
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
We have to do something
We do.
at that point, because
We do.
otherwise we're going to have those 600 houses just sitting around. We can't do that.
I didn't show it to you in our little tour of the outside, but across the street is a city lot that was acquired by, liens or
Right.
whatever, and there was a property on there, and it's been removed, and the nice flat lot.
Mhm.
There's still a water tap in there, I'm sure, and
Sure.
I'm sure there's an electricity drop in the back. But if you look at that lot, it's full of weeds.
Yeah. So right, we exchange one ISO for
So,
another. Right?
so somebody last night at council asked for the list of properties.
Mhm.
Didn't someone ask for that?
Yeah, Regina.
Well, was it Regina?
Mhm.
Yeah, she's a smart lady.
Yes, she is.
And there should be a list like that of abandoned properties that the city's volunteers that they're working there. You can go around and clean this lot. It only has to be done maybe twice a summer,
Right.
and it would improve this street a lot.
Yeah.
And but as long as that's there, why would anyone else on the street clean up? Now this property did, we
Right.
did, uh,
Right.
uh, because we had community service people that need to work off their 100 hours and
Sure.
but I think we might send that the guy that's looking for community service, who's a young kid, is got caught up in problems,
Whatever.
but
Yeah.
you know, go across the street and clean that thing because it'll improve this lot, and we could legitimately sign off on those hours. But there are a lot of people who have to do community service,
Yeah.
and they could be doing that kind of work. But I don't think they can work on these abandoned buildings
Because
because
of the asbestos, right?
I mean, in that list that Regina asked for, the year that it was built tells you a lot. Like my house in Upper Belmont, is built in 78, 79.
Yeah.
So it's post lead paint.
72? Is it
78 was the year. The
70,
last year
okay.
you could buy the paint, but I don't know what, I don't know what they may not have had a last year you could have sold, but we purchased a house that we knew didn't have lead paint because we wanted to have our children
Sure.
not be affected by lead paint.
Right.
I was lucky when I grew up that we had a house in a suburb. Parents bought it in 55 or 56, but the next door neighbors painted all their woodwork with top of the line paint, which was lead paint, right? But my mother, biologist, put in varnish. So all of the woodwork was varnished. Naughty nice kept.
Right.
Well, no. I mean, there was no lead paint in that house. It
Right.
was all lead paint free.
Okay.
And so I don't think she was a biologist, but I don't know that she knew anything about
Right.
lead paint.
Right.
But that's what happened. I was lucky.
Uh,
But we've got that problem in Pueblo. A lot of lead paint, a lot of houses. So the year that it was built is important. But we need to do something to get these houses, as long as this lead paint is encapsulated, into the hands of younger people that are just forming their families, and do something. And I don't know what it is. It's almost like city council should have a think tank,
yeah.
or a.
We do need a think tank.
And I've thought that people are going to not be happy with this comment, but every counselor should have a chair behind them, on the dais, that's a consigliere, and you got
Right.
and that leans forward
Yeah,
and tells them, hey, this is the thing,
Right.
this is what you're talking about here,
Mhm.
because I mean, there's so many issues. You heard what Mark said last night. In I don't know how many years it was. It was, I think, the 4 years maybe. It was 1,100.
Yeah.
Something 1,123 ordinances, of
Uh-huh.
which only 34 were denied.
Right.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough to be a counselor. How are you going to do it?
Well, I don't know if you know this. I grew up poor.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, I grew
Well,
up.
Hernandez.
Yeah, grew up dirt poor.
There's a lot of Hernandez.
That's right. Well, I'm not related to any of them other than my children.
Yeah.
We're actually my Hernandez family is actually my dad was from Denver, moved down here before I was born. But yeah, I grew up poor, and so when you're poor, you learn how to survive. You learn how to deal with situations that most other people don't deal with until they. Unfortunately, if they come across an incident later on in their life where they have faced a little bit of adversity, I've faced adversity since, I was 6 or 7 years old. My dad was a disabled veteran, so he couldn't work anymore, and
100%.
100% disabled. He could not work. He was on oxygen. He died when he was 57. I was 25 years old when my dad passed. So, but I had to do a lot because he was sick for 12 years before he died. I had to do a lot of growing up. Really early in life.
Sure.
And so, you learn those things. You learn how to survive. And so you learn how that.
What was your first job?
My first job was the one I just retired from. Seriously, I had it for 42 years.
What was that?
That was Spectrum Community Service. I owned the company, but I first started working there and I bought it, 10 years into working there. But yeah, I worked there for 42 years. I did have another job when I was 14, scraping gum off the bottom of the table. So
You worked though.
I worked though. Yeah. So literally been working since I was 14. Actually worked in the fields planting celery too. The worst job I ever had in my life. I did it for a summer, and I swore to goodness I was going to get an education because I certainly did not want to break my back for $1 an hour when I was 15 years old.
That's
So
all they paid.
$1 an hour. So you
That's
grow.
below minimum at that time.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we're farm workers. They didn't pay you minimum wage. You got to either $10 a bushel or $1 an hour, basically. But yeah, so I learned the value of working and the value of the dollar, and so I when you learn to survive, all these other things in life, when you learn it young, all these other things in life are they're pretty simple, pretty easy to deal with. So that's why, being on city council and listening to the stuff that goes on, I have a method for dealing with people who don't get along because I've done it my entire professional career. I nothing is going to get in my way of providing what I can possibly provide for the constituents of District 3
Do you think that after a year of being on council, you could be the president?
of council.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's the job that you should really
I
have, where
think
you where
I think I
you
can because I've been part of organizations before where we've done Robert's Rules of Order. So that's not the mechanism or the process for running a city councilman is not a difficult one. I think anybody could do it. No offense to anybody who's done it before. It's just not that hard a job. But setting the agenda, right? Working with the mayor on this is what we're talking about today. These are the things that we're gonna start moving forward. Those are the things that I can have a conversation with either a city manager or a mayor, and with the other city council members. So look, this is what we want to get done, folks. Let's work towards this because I have this, and I'm not special. Trust me when I say that. There's nothing special about me other than I work really really hard at what I do, um, to be able to pull people together.
would you be in favor of? I've heard Dorothy Butcher say this when I've interviewed her. She's quite the lady,
Yeah.
but she wants to have a work session every, I think, Tuesday, and from 11 to 1 or 11 to 2, middle of the day, so people could come, at lunchtime, their
Mm-hmm.
lunch, but the staff that does the work sessions, it's usually a city staff, could be there, and then the ordinances that come out of that work session are voted on the following Monday.
Right.
But there was a regular meeting every Monday,
Yeah.
like we went to last night.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's anything wrong.
I mean, that would be so that they might not last as long and things are quicker.
Right, and
So
we get some stuff done, right?
right, and
Yeah.
first and second reading could be 1 week the next week.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think
It's not me. It's Dorothy.
part of the problem that I think that city government has is that it's slow.
Oh, it's slow.
The wheels of government just move too slow, and I think there
slow.
is a way to speed things along. There just is. If you are a city council person and you haven't done your homework on an issue, on an ordinance, on something presented to you, I don't think that's my fault.
No,
I think that's your fault.
right.
And you're either going to have to come along or you're going to have to get your stuff together and start doing the work that is necessary. Because it's work.
Oh, yeah, it's work.
It's work. It's not, you can't show up at the meeting and read it. Okay, yeah, in favor. You've not done anything.
Yeah, like last night, I spoke against.
You spoke for against.
I spoke for against.
Yeah.
I'm for this thing,
Yeah.
but I spoke against it.
Right.
Basically, I recommended it because I knew they were going to pass it no matter what. It's development. You've read Michener's Centennial.
Yeah.
Have you? It's what Colorado's about.
Exactly.
It's about development. So,
Right.
but
That's what we do.
that's what we do. So the thing that I spoke against was we're putting in 2 phases 255 new homes or new units, and that's going to make these old homes be worth less
Yeah.
because they are old
Or empty.
or empty, and they're in neighborhoods that are blighted. And I understand that, and that's great. You have to improve these new things, but what are we going to do about the old homes?
So, Dave, wouldn't it be a better idea instead of creating new neighborhoods that we went into existing neighborhoods and improve them?
Yes, I
mean,
think, and make starter homes
Yeah. So,
for these young families.
my brother and sister used to live on the north side up in Denver, and it used to be um, before I was born. That's where my family lived, up in Denver before I was born. Um, they lived on the north side of Denver, and it was a beautiful neighborhood. Then it became bad.
Thornton or
North Denver,
North Denver?
right around 50th and Alley and Federal.
I think Thornton's like 120th or something.
Right, right. So, but 30 years later, they didn't build. Obviously, they built around Denver because it's a big town. But developers went into neighborhoods and said, "No, we're going to buy this whole block, and we're going to redo this whole block because this is a wonderful neighborhood." So they took all of the I don't want to say the bad people, but the people who were bringing down properties, they bought them out and allowed them to go buy something different. And they just totally changed the whole north side of Denver. Some people
How many
call
blocks do you think that would be?
it was probably, I would say, probably all the way from the old stadium on 22nd,
Yeah.
all the way up to 50th, and then probably about another 10 blocks back. But they started
So 300 blocks.
They started around Mile High Stadium, the old Mile High Stadium.
Yeah.
And they just kept moving.
The ones that the Rockies played at.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the original Rockies. And they just kept moving north, little by little. And people said, they know you're gentrifying the neighborhood. No, we're improving the neighborhood for the people who live here, because we're not doing every house. We're doing the ones that we could buy and do. So it raised everybody's property values, and then the north side of Denver became a different place to live. It wasn't just gangs and drugs.
Uh-huh.
It was families. And so pretty soon all those people left, and it became the neighborhood it was in the 70s, 60s, and 70s.
And we can do that again in Pueblo?
I believe we can. Yeah. The thing that drives me crazy, especially about here on the east side, is you have some beautiful homes that are surrounded.
This one was built in 1880.
Exactly, that are surrounded by junk.
Uh-huh.
So let's either help these people who are living in the junk, or to improve it, or let's give them an opportunity to go do something else so that we can little by little draw this back. And that's why I said, with all of the abandoned homes, that's where we should start. That's where we should, not the ones that are burned that have the asbestos all up in the air that we can't do anything with, but the ones that aren't. The ones that aren't. Why aren't we buying these? Talk about a low-income housing shortage. It's right here in front of us.
I agree with you.
It's right here in front of us.
So what would it take to identify these properties? Do you have to walk up and down every?
So our neighbors know.
Our neighbors.
Our neighbors know. They'll tell us, and Maestri asked for the list. The city workers know. Police officers know.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think there are problem houses.
Yeah.
And then there are just houses that have older people who never leave their house.
Exactly.
So they're two different kinds.
Yeah.
So
I think we can help both.
I think good.
I think we can help both.
Good.
Because I would hate to lose the east side of Pueblo. I think it's too valuable to our city, to the history of our city. But we certainly need to change some things about it. And the same thing with Bessemer, 100%. I did an interview today, and then we talked about.
How long was that interview?
It was 2 hours.
2 hours.
It was a podcast.
Really?
We just kept going and going. It was supposed to be 45 minutes.
Who was it?
The Star Journal.
Oh wow! So Gregory,
Gregory and Molly. Yeah, we went till 5 minutes after 12. I looked at my watch. I said, "Oh shoot, I'm supposed to be somewhere right now."
Yeah. Star Journal. It's a good little paper.
It is. It really is. So I'm sorry, I lost track. What was I?
Oh, you were talking about you were on a podcast and you were talking about the houses that need redoing and how to attack them and expand them.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
So something you said in that podcast.
Yeah. So we talked about how We can take entire neighborhoods, and because, like I said, everybody knows which ones are there and which ones are the problems, that we can take entire neighborhoods and rethink how we want to build public housing. Not public housing necessarily, but low income housing, which is basically the same thing, right? They're either Section 8 or they're low income housing. We're building $250,000 houses. Who can afford a $250,000 house, Dave?
Not somebody who just got married. Not
Exactly.
somebody who just had a. I talked to a lady this morning.
On a 22-foot lot. Did you hear that?
Yeah, 22 point
22.5. They
two
cut,
or two or
yeah,
something.
yeah. So they cut it in half. They cut a small lot in half.
Right.
So how do we?
That's I think they call it a shoebox.
Yeah, or a shotgun house,
Shotgun
right?
house, right?
Shotgun.
Right. Railroad
So
car
yeah.
business. Yeah.
So I just we're just I think that we cannot. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Bessemer. So I talked about it this morning. How great minds. If you look at the Riverwalk, look at the Riverwalk. What a beautiful place. That whole area that we spent millions and millions of dollars. We're $15 million in debt, but we had um, expert minds, beautiful people put the Riverwalk together. Why can't we do that for Bessemer? Why can't we do that for the East Side?
I think why can't we asks me for reasons why we can't,
Right.
and
Why
I
shouldn't
you're,
we?
but yeah,
Why
can
aren't
you
we?
imagine? Yeah, no, you don't want to say why aren't we
Yeah.
because that's a negative way of
Yeah.
asking the question. We can do that for Bessemer.
Exactly.
We can do that for Bessemer. We can
Yeah.
do the same thing for Bessemer. We just need to get the right people on the problem.
And we have
We
smart
have the right
people.
people. I think it was John Fujishira who wrote the original grant money for the Riverwalk, and I
Yeah.
don't know if that involved a levee or
Yeah.
whatever it
was. Yeah.
involved, but burying there's a sewer line that runs underneath you.
Yeah.
But
But look at what we can do. Look what Pueblo can do.
yeah, it was a long. That's a long. That was a probably a 30 or 40 year
Yes.
development. And it's not done.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, I asked why can't we, or that's a bad way to say it. Can't we or should we place a solar array on the parking lot north of the police building that's between there and the parking garage? Can we put a solar array like this, a slant, and power the police department?
Yeah.
Well, that's set for a building. There's supposed to be a building right there. It's in the master plan, so
Right.
we can't do that.
Right.
But somebody's got a plan that has the entire downtown developed, and you're asking, let's have a plan for
Let's have a
Bessemer,
Bessemer. Let's have a plan for the East Side.
right?
Let's stop finding excuses for why we can't do things.
Right. We don't want to know why we can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me I can't do something, and
Yeah.
I'll show you that I can. And that's a poor man's mentality. You're telling me I can't do something? You're wrong.
Yeah.
And whether I can or not, I'm gonna bust my butt trying. I'll bust my butt trying to do it because you can't tell a man who wants to do something he can't do something.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I want greenfield nuclear power for Pueblo.
So do I.
Not meaning I don't want Comanche 2 and 3 to be touched until they're worn out.
I agree.
But the nuclear power should be what's called a greenfield, and it's on a fresh piece of ground, and provides new power, additional power, and so yeah, I won't stop talking about that since 2012.
Right.
So
And we
or
should.
2011 actually.
You know, they have these crazy phrases where the politicians use all of the above, right?
Yeah.
Solar, coal, nuclear, bio, whatever we can do. Let's do it. I think those are really, really easy ways to say I really don't want to do anything.
Yes.
Status quo's good, folks,
Right.
and it's not.
I'll tell you the problem with intermittent renewables is they're if you say we're just going to put it in batteries, well, batteries aren't necessarily synced very well to the frequency of the grid,
Mhm.
and so they have a tough time matching the grid. Spinning things like turbines or generators that are run by steam,
Yeah.
like from a coal-fired plant, they have some inertia
Right.
to stay with the frequency and of the 60 hertz in our case. And
I was really surprised when we built the we when when we built the reservoir that we didn't put a hydroelectric plant right there.
well, they put tunnels in,
Yeah,
but they didn't put the turbines in.
right.
And I think that Colorado Springs um, somehow got that energy.
Yeah,
And they did put some turbines in, but they're not that big. They're 7.5
right,
megawatts. And I don't know if there's room for any more.
right.
But yes, it is interesting. Now, the water board has or is putting in some turbines in the river where they take out the water.
Yeah,
Uh, and I don't know how big they are,
right.
but they're trying to offset their. If on the water board, I would, if I were on the elected to the water board, which I am running for the water board,
Mhm.
um, I would like to see us put solar arrays and pump our water when the sun is shining. And if we have to, with additional solar, besides the solar, build water tanks so that when we have cloudy days or we're not getting enough solar energy, we have some buffer to deal with not spending electricity.
Right.
And we should,
To spin those wheels.
yeah, we need to at least um, not pump during the busy hours
Right.
because for keeping the electricity costs low, I'm also on the, I don't know if you know this, I'm on the energy advisory board. So for the mayor or for the city, I guess. And we don't, right now it's all about education, but we're hoping to go before council and make sure that there's a emphasis on low cost. And low cost might be not doing things to not encourage Black Hills to make more capital expenditures.
Mhm.
In other words, keep the rate at its current state, and eventually all the other towns in Colorado will rise up as they improve their systems. We're already improved,
Right.
so um, so we need to do things like that and keep as part of economic development. We need to keep our energy costs as low as we can.
Right.
We're not going to reduce. Might as well forget
Black Hills?
reducing the rates that
Yeah.
Black Hills. It can't be
Not
reduced.
gonna be that.
If it's already passed, they've already spent the capital money. Those mortgages have to be paid.
Sure. You
So
spend $400 million, you got to get your money
it's
back.
just like the city. We don't want to get any more mortgages that we don't need to
Exactly.
pay down.
Right.
Um,
Because it costs money.
because every costs money. You
Tax
pay that
Yeah.
mortgage every year.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we should be in the business of buildings, or just our city hall. That should be it, right?
uh, I mean, we have between 700 and 800 employees
Right.
in the city,
Yeah. Just yeah.
and
Well,
so
I take that back because I think there's some other buildings that we should own too. Like we should have some community centers in this town for kids.
maybe the Conversus building,
Well,
maybe the Greyhound Park.
I thought Kmart's,
Well, Kmart's, yeah,
both of them,
yeah.
because you know I talked about this earlier too, that if we don't start working from the bottom up, if we don't start with our kids, the way we educate our kids, um, we're in trouble because what the way District 60 is educating them right now is atrocious. I mean, we don't have a workforce. We talked about this earlier. We
Yes.
don't have a workforce. We don't have kids ready for college. They just are failing our kids. And if we don't start doing what we can as a city to help these kids, I think we're in trouble.
So I agree with you, and I've got a little thought on that, and we have another 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to say a little bit,
Sure.
but I want you to prepare your last few seconds,
You got it.
minutes, okay?
You got
So you're going to be thinking about what you're going to be talking about, not
Okay.
listening to me.
it. Okay.
So
Got
that's a joke, folks. So what I think should happen is we need to change our school system's goal set from producing valedictorians to producing competent people. And the competent people are ones that don't get Fs. And how do you get kids to not have Fs? Well, you keep teaching them. This is what I would suggest, and it's just one brainstormed idea because in the articulated problem of getting good citizens that stay in Pueblo, we need competent people. And what I would do is teach them 4 days. I know we have a 4 day school, but I think it's a 5 days. So we teach 4 days, test on the fifth. And if you get 19 or 20 out of questions correct, you're competent. You're labeled competent.
Mhm.
You're not a failure. You're a competent. And you move to the next week, which is going to be 4 days on the same subject but different topic. And and If you don't get 19 or 20, you repeat the week. You don't repeat the year. You don't get an F for the year. You don't get a grade that improves the value of some valedictorian. You are kept at that week, that 4 days of instruction until you're competent. Now, there's going to be people who it takes them 4 weeks or 5 weeks to become competent, and maybe they have a visit with a social worker to find out what's wrong. But you give them a different teacher each week and to learn the same material, and but they become competent. And so you don't necessarily require 4 years of English to get out of high school. You you require age to get out, for example.
Yeah.
But you will have some competency, some number of competencies. You will have a competency rating. And some of the people will be so competent, they're going to get, instead of 9 competencies at 4 weeks a pop, they're going to get 36. And those are ones that are academically bound, and they're going to go to college, and they'll go to the best colleges,
Right.
because they will be super competent because you didn't hold them back.
Right.
They will now presents a problem. But think about it. Teachers can go on vacation anytime they want because the class they're going to teach is going to be available when they come back.
Right.
And students can go on vacation any day, any week they want. It doesn't have to be a rigid schedule.
Right.
So, how do you determine what's in 2 weeks? In the 4 days, what 70% of your students will become competent in 2 weeks. So there's a lot more to it.
Sure.
How do you rate teachers and so on? But I think we need to start getting our citizens competent. So we're talking with Ted Hernandez, and this is Dave DeCenzo, who's blathering. And Ted is running for City Council in District 3. And this is KOYC Radio 98.5 FM, low power. And we're always looking for sponsors and donations. So, Ted, what do you want to say in the last couple of minutes?
Well, first, Dave, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I met you, I don't know, maybe about a month ago.
Probably.
And you were talking to me, and somebody walked by, and she said, "Be careful of this guy." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so, but I want to tell you something. Speaking for myself, I won't speak for you, but I feel like I've met a friend for life.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you every time I get to talk to you, because you give me a little bit more education. And
oh, man.
And I'm telling you that
shoulder chills.
The education that I have received over the last 2 months from people, but talking to people like you and others, is just been invaluable. It reinforced everything I believed about my city, that there are people out there who really want to move Pueblo forward. And if I can be a conduit for those people to help them, like if I can be a voice for those people, because I don't have every idea, but I know a lot of people have some great ideas, and those are the kinds of things that I want to move forward in City Council. So I appreciate the opportunity, Dave. You've been an amazing person to meet, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I think you're a person who listens. So someone like me who talks a lot would be a good person to have as a friend. So we have to sign off. Maybe we can get Ted back again after he wins, and see what he thinks and how soon he's going to be president of City Council. All right, KOYC 98.5 FM, low power, signing off. This was a Pueblo Matters interview number 20 with Ted Hernandez, running for City Council District 3.